Steppenwolf Theater presents Windfall. It's a world premiere from Academy Award-winning writer and ensemble member Terrell Alvin McCraney. Windfall is about a Chicago father who loses his child in a clash with police. He's then visited by three strangers who advise him, take the cash settlement and get out of town. It's a communal experience created for this moment. Windfall runs now through May 31st. Don't miss this world premiere production and get your tickets today at steppenwolf.org.
We're not saying a visit to Bloomington, Indiana will turn you into a forest-bathing, sandal-wearing, dissertation-defending, stray cat rescuing, nonprofit starting, Monroe Lake paddling, guitar strumming, march organizing, vinyl listening, leaf watching, zen finding, coffee roasting, yoga practicing, beer drinking, bread baking, co-op joining, pottery throwing, vintage thrifting, bike everywhereing, art appreciating, farmers market shopping, biz thinking, football fan. But we're not saying it won't. Visit Bloomington. See how it inspires you.
Today on CityCast Chicago, the mayor is investing more in youth peacekeepers. The city welcomes a brand new lesbian-owned bar, and the Chicago Critics Film Festival is right around the corner. We've got the details. It's Wednesday, April 29th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I'm so excited to have these two people back in the building with us, officially CityCast Chicago contributors. We got the founder of E3 Radio in the building, Anna Deshawn. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
I'm so glad to be here, and I'm official now.
Come on, let's do this. And we've also got the NABJ Chicago president, Brandon Pope, back with us for, I don't know, the 30th time in 5 years. It's good to see you, my friend.
You know, I got to get one of those green jackets they got on SNL, the 30-timers club, and have just update the number every time.
I'm going to do the exact math and get a number for you next week. Before we start jumping into our stories for the day, yesterday we started this conversation about things that are worth standing in a long line for. Over this past weekend, there were long lines at the MCA for the Let's Get Weird drop. There was long lines for the new opening of Bad Butter. There was long lines for pop-up bagels. And I'm gonna be honest with you, only two of those three things am I willing to stand in a long line for. I got the UPS alert that my Joes should be arriving within the hour or so. And Bad Butter, I'm not gonna lie, damn good every time I've had it. I might have to brave that line at the new establishment, but bagels on the other hand, I'm good. So I was wondering, what is something that you are willing to stand in a long ass line for? And y'all faces, even as I'm talking about this, is real skeptical to the line culture. Y'all seem like that's antithetical to what how y'all trying to live y'all life. Anna, what is something that is worth 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? I don't know. What's long to you?
5 minutes is long to me. And it's 5 minutes is long for my back too. Okay, let me just be very clear. Okay, this over 40 club is nothing to be a punk about. Okay, and this pinched nerve between my L3 and my L5. Okay, 5 minutes is all I got for you. Okay, now
we have detailed medical records.
Right. Do you understand? Because I really need people to understand.
Brought out the chart.
You okay? I need people to understand what's happening here. But so I appreciate the fact that I can answer this in a fictional manner, because probably the one thing I would stand in a long line for at this point in my life is to meet Robin Roberts. And so if someone can actually make that happen for me, because she has absolutely been my North Star my entire life. I've had 3 close encounters to this moment, and every time something happens and she gets called on assignment. One time it was Queen Elizabeth died. I said, well, I can't beat that, So I feel like the moment to meet Robin Roberts, I would absolutely stand in line for and suffer the consequences later.
Broadcaster, sportscaster. I grew up Robin Roberts on ESPN, ABC's Good Morning America. Like that is a good one. I'm trying to think off the top. Who is somebody I'd be willing to stand in a long line to meet to get an autograph? Oh, this is a tough one off the top of my head. Pope, in the meantime, in between time, what is something you are willing to stand in a long line for? Because I'm hearing you, Anna. I done had a cracked ankle. I done had a slightly torn groin, plantar, standing on these feet for a long time. It's tough. It's tough.
Lines are against my religion. I just
LeBron
don't
James.
believe.
There's the answer. LeBron James. What am I
Oh,
talking?
no.
LeBron James.
It wouldn't be. You're wrong, because you know why?
I would wait in that line.
I've met LeBron enough times.
No, I'm saying that's for me.
To...
That's for me. No, that was my answer. Mine just hit me. No, I was like, my answer, LeBron James. I was like, I don't know why I'm hesitating. There's the answer.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. LeBron's great.
Anna, you see how this nigga went? I met LeBron a bunch of times. You see how he got that in there like a right hook to the liver?
He said, not that's not mine. He said, that's not for me. Oh, that's yours.
I didn't mean it like that.
He said, Ohio boys. He said, we in the club.
Period.
Hey, that's what we do.
Just like that.
Look, I got LeBron on speed dial. I don't. Look. So I have waited in lines before. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
Most memorably, I waited in line for the Harry Potter store for my niece. And she knew I did not want to do it. She said, "Uncle, why are you throwing a fit?" And I was like, "I'm not throwing a fit." She was like, "It just seems like you're being kind of moody." And I was like, "I'm not being moody. Why are we saying that?" But I was. She clocked it, my little Ravenclaw. She understood, because I do.
I love that you played the niece card on this one. That's a good one.
Because she understands. It's against everything I believe in. However, what I would stand in line for, let's say there's this hypothetical situation where they are giving away free Monstera plants at a local, plant shop. You know what? Yeah, I'd stand in line for that, because I love a good Monstera plant, right? Just to get very granular and specific. But it would have to be something really like that, and it's got to be free.
Pope has turned this into his Hinge profile. He said, I take my niece out. I've met LeBron James multiple times, and I love nurturing houseplants.
And Jacoby, what was that thing about you only sit in box seats when you were me? Was that what you said before? You're welcome, brother.
This is the vibe.
Pope let me take the Maserati out once every couple months, and he told me I ain't got to pay nothing for Black Yacht Weekend. Like he said, I'm good at the door.
We got you, brother. We'll see you in the Amalfi Coast next time we get together.
There's a lot of fiction going on this morning, Anna.
Just spinning tales, just spinning lore,
But yeah, I will say, long lines, food, and potentially legendary sports broadcasters, and of course, to take care of my nieces. I like all of these answers, but we still want to hear from y'all. 773-780-0246. What in this city are you willing to brave? I guess for Anna, 5 minutes. For me, about 30. Let us know. Over the weekend, Mayor Brandon Johnson signed the Peacebook executive order. B. Pope, come in here. Remind us what the Peacebook is and what this executive order accomplishes.
Yeah, the Peacebook is something that youth organizers have been pushing for more than 7 years now, really spurred by the Laquan McDonald shooting, but also the shooting death of Adia Pendleton on the south side of Chicago. The group Good Kids, Mad City, you may be familiar with them. They were really instrumental in pushing this, led by a man named Kofi Ademola, a great dude and activist here in the city of Chicago. The idea behind the Peacebook was literally having a resource for anti-violence for the city's youth. And so Mayor Brandon Johnson ran on pushing forward this Peacebook ordinance, and now we finally see him pass it. So it's been in the works for a while. $900,000 being committed here in grants to trusted and experienced violence prevention organizations, and it's funded by the Department of Family Support Services. It's calling on 50 part-time youth peacekeepers and 4 full-time youth safety officers. The idea is to have different types of youth events in every single ward that can help give kids something to do. We always hear the complaint that there's nothing for youth to do on the south side of the city and beyond. This attempts to try to fix that issue right there, but it also just it's It's basically the realization of what people like Good Kids Mad City have been pushing for so long. They pushed politicians to pass it. They pushed Lori Lightfoot infamously to pass it. She didn't. And so finally, they're seeing the reward for their work. It's going to be a working group to start to figure out how they structure this all out. But getting this over the finish line and finally passed, a big win for Good Kids Mad City youth organizers and organizers across the city of Chicago.
Good Kids Mad City about to celebrate 10 years next year. The ordinance you talk about originally proposed back in 2022. Alderperson Jesse Fuentes has fought alongside these groups to try to get this on the floor in front of city council. And while much of the original proposals have yet to be adopted, they did get a pilot peacekeeper program a couple of years ago. And what you saw was, out of the 900 or so people who applied, 100 positions opened up, 60 hours, 6 weeks, and folks were taught conflict resolution, right? Taught how to run peacekeeping circles, how to put on some of those arts-focused events for young people, how to use de-escalation tactics, how to give emergency aid to someone. And this proposal calls for a lot more. The ordinance that they really want asks for money to be redirected from the $1 billion and consistently going up police budget, redirecting somewhat $50 million or so towards these programs. And they're still fighting for an ordinance to be taken up and money in the 2027 budget to be set aside. As you talk about, their goals are to reduce gun violence across the city, oversee peace treaties, peace hubs, safe zones, to provide not only a literal peace book, a training book for young people across the city, but to really start mobilizing people in their communities to go out, to intervene, to learn about the conflict that's happening in their neighborhood that they're directly impacted by, while also creating space for therapy, for people to come together and share space with one another.
And what I love about this, Jacoby, as well, like, this is literally people getting in the game, getting on the front lines. I think oftentimes when we talk about anti-violence work and youth groups, we speak very vaguely, right?
Yep.
We say, yeah, throw a basketball court up. Where's the community center? And you know that, but we know that it takes a lot more. And this Peacebook calls for specific things like truce negotiations when it comes to youth that are affiliated with different factions, resources around wraparound social services with housing, mutual aid for shelter and public benefits assistance, art projects that help teach kids more than just, partying and all that type of stuff, like giving them an outlet to be creative and explore those passions. Community meetings, neighborhood spaces, social media intervention and training on that as well. That's key as we talk about these teen trends and teen takeovers. Like the social media part and engagement part's a big part of that. And so I think this is a really potentially transformative piece of legislation here if it's fully realized. And once again, it's got to be emphasized. This was youth backed. Like this came from Chicago's kids providing the solution and saying, here's what we need, here's what we want, and finally applying the pressure and getting it over the finish line here.
Anna, just watching Good Kids Mad City and the other groups who have been backing the Peacebook for years, like seeing them get to this point, how important do you think this is?
I love to see it. I love the fact that my tax dollars are going to support something like this, right? We think about violence in the city, but we also have to think about prevention. Guns are going to go off. How do we stop the guns from going off? Right. I think we think about public safety and then it leads into conversations about the police department. Child, the police are going to react. We have to have proactive services in place for young people. We have to have things for them to do outside of a basketball court. Now, you could have found me on the court, but that ain't everybody's jam.
And
Right?
Good Kids Mad City loves running basketball centered events. But again, that's not the end all be all of their strategy.
It really isn't. And I love this holistic look at how we actually keep young people busy, keep them employed, right? So many of them need money in their pockets, right? They probably go on to help support the rest of their family. I just think this type of initiative is so important. It seems like they've rolled it out the right way. They did a pilot. They proved success. Okay, they proved they could take care of a little so they can get a whole lot, right? And I love this idea around the app, too. I love this. The fact that they are going to work with the young people to create a youth resource app. Come on. I think this is exactly the type of solutions we want to see in the city.
100%. We've talked about it in our conversations, as Brandon alluded to, conversations around teen trends, around the youth curfew, around directly engaging with young people to ask, what do they want to see in the city? How do they want to show up as Chicagoans and take advantage of some of these great things we have to offer? But also, how do they get an opportunity to be heard and to be listened to? They want to be brought in the process, not only after the gun has been fired, Anna, and now the entire city's young people age 10 to 24 on high alert, have everybody looking at them, everybody questioning them. And we know who I'm talking about when I say 10 to 24, largely Black and brown kids feel this pressure from lawmakers, from other residents. And so this opportunity to be brought into the table, to be connected with different social service agencies, different part of Chicago's network of intervention and violence interruption. I think this is a monumental moment. It should be celebrated as such, but it is not the end. They want more. And Anna, as you point out, they've got the metrics and the data behind them that says they deserve more. Now, if you are like me and you love theater that sparks conversation long after the curtain call, then listen up. Timeline Theater is bringing An Enemy of the People to the stage this spring, and it's the Chicago premiere at Timeline's new home at 5035 North Broadway in Uptown. This gripping play tackles big questions about truth, integrity, and what it costs to stand your ground when the entire crowd turns against you. Even though it's a classic story, the issues feel urgent, modern, and let's just say very Chicago. An Enemy of the People runs May 6th through June 7th, and it's the perfect choice for anybody who wants theater that challenges, provokes, and entertains all at once. Get your tickets and details at timelinetheater.com. The Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning musical South Pacific is coming to the Paramount Theater in downtown Aurora. And it's got everything folks have come to love about the World War II drama. Spy missions, captivating love stories, and of course, all the classic songs like Some Enchanted Evening, Bolly Hey, I'm Gonna Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair. South Pacific is running from April 29th to June 14th at Paramount Theater, and tickets start at $31 when purchased in person. There are additional fees when you buy it on your phone or online. You can get your tickets today at ParamountAurora.com. As I talked about in our opening, there is a new lesbian-owned bar up in Lakeview. Anna, please give me the details.
I love this for us, okay? The owners of Dorothy, which has been around since 2020 in Ukrainian Village, Whitney and Zoe, they've opened a new lesbian bar in Lakeview, 1622 West Belmont, and it's called Fathom. Okay, they are coining it the classic neighborhood dive bar.
Okay.
I love that. It's cute on the inside, too. Okay, I've seen the pictures. And they're telling the good people, this is for the lesbians, but child, we also want this to be a neighborhood bar. Okay?
You go on the website, it says a queer dive right at the front.
They're very clear about what they want this to be and who they want it to be for. And it is in the neighborhood for a reason. They specifically chose this neighborhood because they wanted to be a neighborhood dive bar. And if you're familiar, you may or may not be familiar with the Lesbian Bar Project. You may or may not be familiar with Cruising Pod, but that's why I'm here, okay? Your queer news correspondent here. Both these projects have documented the lack of lesbian-only spaces, right? The Lesbian Bar Project, Webby, Emmy, GLAAD Media Award-winning project, 36 exist across the United States. 36 lesbian bars.
336? Like there wasn't a zero back there?
36.
Damn.
If you Google it, there's like 750 gay bars, okay? There is no comparison in the lack of lesbian-owned spaces. And so when we see a place like Fathom coming to life in our city, it's something we ought to celebrate. It's something we ought to support and ensure that it's here for a long time to come, because there is a true lack of lesbian-owned and lesbian-centered spaces across the country.
I mean, you talk about the importance based on just the sheer number, but when I read some of these stories, they talk about Chicago's peak in the 70s and the 80s and what some of these old spaces meant, like Ladybug and Swan Club. You know, what does it mean to be living in this moment over the last few years where a few different places have popped up?
It means everything. I feel like we're living in this sort of renaissance. And I promise, if I had the time and the brain space, I would write an op-ed about the growth of the WNBA, the resurgence of the WNBA, and the resurgence of these lesbian-only spaces. Because they are incongruent.
Make this connection for us, please.
They are absolutely congruent. And so Babe Sports Bar, right, opened last year. It is thriving. Child, I go in there on a Thursday and it's packed. Going there on Tuesday, it's packed. Okay, I guess I'm not standing in line, but I'll ride, okay, over to Babes and hang out there because it's a whole vibe, right? And then this spring, we have Level Sporting Club opening up in Lakeview, and their ownership group is a bunch of Black and brown women, right? Former athletes opening up a women's sports bar also in Lakeview. We are absolutely living in a moment that we ought not take for granted. It ought to be documented. And we just got to make sure that we know about it and we go out and support it.
We know these places are queer inclusive and how important they can be for Chicago's broader LGBTQ community. But you talk about them wanting this to feel like a place for everybody in their neighborhood and places across the city of Chicago. What's the balance there in your mind? Are these places that I should patronage and support, or are these places that I should be letting stay places for Chicago's queer community?
Yeah, I love this question. Okay, because I believe in having comrades out here. Okay, I also believe in sacred spaces. Yes. And so, yes, I think we welcome all the people. Okay. And there's always an and with me. I hope y'all begin to understand and understanding that this is not your space.
Yes.
Right. So I think there is some unwritten rules about how cis heterosexual folks show up in queer centered spaces. Child, you are not in the front. Okay. You come in our space, you got to chill. Sit back. Okay. Have a good time. Sit in the corner. All right. Observe. Do not become the main attraction. This is not your main attraction space. Okay. But we welcome you. We'll never turn you away. Okay. But be a comrade in this space. That's what I would say.
I want to give a huge shout out to their bar manager, Natalie Christian Frazier. That's the homie. Has been on the podcast multiple times over the years. And so I'm excited to pull up and see what they got going at the bar. Some of these drinks look fantastic.
I can't wait to go. So here's my story, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention to the hours, okay? Because I rolled up because I was in Lakeview. I don't live on the north side, okay? I'm on the south side. So when I come north, I'm trying to do everything I don't do.
I hear
and
that.
I want to go support. Okay, I rolled up at 3:00. I messaged Whitney like, yo, I'm rolling up. She's like, no, Anna, ain't nobody there. I was like, you right. Nobody's here. Okay, they open at 5:00. So they open up at 5. They have a happy hour, what they're calling their happy hour, from 5 to 7, Sunday through Thursdays. They actually started a Monday night industry night. So if you're in the hospitality industry, you roll through on Monday nights, you get an extra special discount. And they're starting to build programming, and they got free darts Sunday through Thursday. All right.
Pope, the last few weeks you have put us on the Chicago Palestine Film Festival, the Latino Film Festival, and you are back with yet another one that is kicking off this Friday at the Music Box Theater. Tell us more about the Chicago Critics Film Festival.
Yeah, this is another chance to see some really awesome films that, you may hear about later on and be like, haven't seen it around, haven't heard of it. You could be someone that gets some early access to that. It starts May 1st goes to the 7th at Music Box, as you mentioned. To me, one of the best theaters in America, not just Chicago. Gives you that old school nostalgic feeling. They're going to have red carpets. They're going to have opportunities to engage with the filmmakers themselves. Friday, May 1st, it all kicks off with The Invite, which is a movie by Olivia Wilde starring Seth Rogen. She's actually going to be here in the city doing a Q&A after that presentation. I'll be there, so if you're coming to the Chicago Film Critics Festival, come say hey to me. We can chat, we can take pics, all that type of stuff. Olivia Wilde going to speak. But the movie I'm most excited about, all right, and I haven't seen it. It just sounds interesting to me. On Tuesday, it's a movie called Black Zombie by Maya Anik Bedward. Now, I like zombies. I like black people. So when you fuse the two, what happens? Are we going to have a dystopian...
Oh, is it really that simple? They just put black on zombie and it's black people zombies?
It's about a black zombie.
Like Black Dracula. Black.
Don't overthink it.
Let me read the synopsis to you, okay? Black Zombie digs beneath the blood-soaked spectacle of modern horror to uncover the zombie's buried, unsettling origins. Sounds like some racial trauma. From flickering Hollywood screens to the haunted cane fields of colonial Haiti, the film traces how a figure born from enslavement, spiritual belief, and resistance was transformed into one of pop culture's most profitable monsters. This, to me, could be a sleeper hit if it's done right. If it's done right. So I can't wait for that. That's going to be on Tuesday. Get your tickets. Lots of other great things coming out, too. That one stood out to me, but there's one called Something Wild on Wednesday, May 6th. That sounds pretty good. The Sun Never Sets gets a lot of hype from Joe Swanberg at 7:30 on Thursday. So there's a lot of good stuff at the Critics Film Festival.
The one I'm interested in is Late Fame with Willem Dafoe and Greta Lee. Obviously, we love Willem Dafoe, but Greta Lee, loved her in Past Lives, loved her in Russian Doll. She was hilarious. And this is a story about a poet who, the impact of newfound fame on this guy who publishes a poetry collection that received very little acclaim when it came out, but years later, people start vibing with it, including Gloria, who is played by Greta Lee. And so I'm interested to see this. I don't know if standoff is the right word, but I'm interested to see the scenes with Greta and Willem in the same place. I don't know if you saw The Studio, but her episode of The Studio was fantastic as well. And so
she's great. That's
one that I'm going to have to get some tickets for.
I just got to be honest. I was looking for the black people. Okay. And I saw Black Zombie and I said, nope, I don't mess with zombies. They don't mess with me. I don't mess with them. Okay. So Pope, you're going to have to tell us what that was about. But then I saw Danielle Brooks and I said, wait, I'm a fan. Okay. So if I go, will they miss me? And then I started to read about the movie, the film, and I was like, a little boy dreaming and making this like mythological space for himself in the hood. I mean, I was like, this feels real. And then I saw Lil Murda, from P Valley. I said, that brother can act. I said, that brother can act.
I remember hearing about this after Sundance.
Yeah.
And it was getting a lot of buzz, but I haven't looked back into it. So thank you for putting this one back on my radar.
It's the first one on Tuesday, May 5th, 4:30 p.m., Music Box Theater. You'll probably see me there for that one too, because that looks like a pretty good one.
We're going to drop the full schedule to the Chicago Critics Film Festival in our show notes. Brandon, I got to ask you, as somebody who runs a film Substack and newsletter, who goes to see a lot of movies early, might I add, I be seeing them early screener Instagram stories, my guy. Like, Chicago has a legendary place in the history of film criticism, right? You think back to those thumbs up, thumbs down reviews from Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Like, I remember that growing up. It makes me think about the movie reviews on In Living Color. But like at this moment now, where it feels like the role and the job of being a critic has been dispersed amongst the masses. Like, we all got, our phones in front of us and can, criticize food and give restaurant reviews, give TV show and movie reviews. And I love some, folks who do like these professional breakdowns after every episode, like music critics. Like, do we still need professional film critics in this day and age?
Yeah, I think we absolutely do. Like anyone can watch a movie and have a good time with a movie, right? But the role of a critic is to help us examine and break down how these motion pictures relate to our own experiences, our own lives, our own politics, our own society. It helps us really navigate some of the more weighty issues of the era. That's storytelling universally. That's the power of storytelling. And film is one of our best mediums for that. And so the critic is someone who has, a higher level of access, to be able to talk to the writers, the directors, the actors, those that shape these narratives. But they also have a role and responsibility to go deeper than just saying, I like this movie, I don't like this movie, movie bad, movie good. It's really about where does this movie fit in our cultural conversation and who we are as a people? I think there's always room for that. And that's what separates the good critics from the comparison of box office numbers and the obsession with money. Obviously, Hollywood's a business, right? But ultimately, when you and I are going to a movie, are we sitting there thinking, man, I hope this makes $1 billion? Probably not, right? No. At the end of the day, critics matter, brother. And I'm proud of those who helped shape it here in Chicago. I'm proud of the legacy that's been built, and I'm happy to try to carry it on the best I can.
I hear you, Brandon. I agree. This is, at the end of the day, an art form. I am glad that it has gotten more diverse, that there are more voices available, and that we live in a time when the racist critics, the sexist critics, the transphobic critics, those who turn their nose up every time a cast is announced, and they're like, why isn't that superhero wide? So yes, I am glad this space exists, that more people have access to it, and that even as capitalism, as it has always done, continues to erode the artistic value that is at the heart of filmmaking, that there is space for us to still engage with it in, I imagine, what is the closest to its most sort of pure form, which again is inherently related to the box office in some respects, but not always. So people should also go check out the short film category during this as well, and prepare yourself for Chicago's film festival calendar that is just really getting started and heating up. That is all from us here today at CityCast Chicago. I want to give a huge thank you, founder of E3 Radio, Anna Deshawn. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you in the building, and I'm so glad I get to say this. See you next week.
Hey, that's me. I'm here, y'all. So happy.
And Chicago's freelance TV journalist and the president of NABJ Chicago, Brandon Pope. Appreciate you making time, man. Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir.
And for everybody else listening, I want to give you a huge thank you to making it to this point in the episode. To the people who signed up to become CityCast Chicago neighbors in the last couple of weeks, I see you. Johnny M, thank you. Brianna B, thank you. Allegra GS, appreciate you listening to the podcast. Chauncey H, go on, bring some more friends to the party. Jessica K, don't stop listening now. And Joel F, thank you so much for becoming a neighbor. I hope to see all of y'all at our neighborhood tour. We are going to be sending out some invites to that very soon, so be paying attention to your inbox. Of course, I can't close things down without some good news. The First Friday music series is back in Rogers Park this Friday, with live music going down on Sheridan Road between Devon and Pratt. For a full lineup of stages and performers, you already know where to go. And if you don't, that is the show notes. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. I'll talk to you then. Peace. I'm going to be real with you. I felt so good about that. Wow. We are such professionals. Oh my God.
We might just do this for a living.